Believe that.
I had to download Chrome on this.
Whoa, download Chrome. You didn't just have Chrome?
Not on this one.
Bro.
Because you got to remember, this is my laptop, and normally this would be my desktop, but I haven't pulled that out yet because the carpet's not in yet.
Bro, why don't you get carpet? You should just get that carpet, in my opinion.
What does that mean?
Yeah, it just means you should get carpet.
Is that like, does it match the drapes?
Hey! I am sending a push notification right now.
Push that notification, bro. Push it.
I think we're live. I don't know. You can check on Facebook or somewhere. See if it's rolling. We should be. Let's go. Let's go.
My son is trying to message me.
About what?
I mean, he was trying to FaceTime me. I think so. Austin just got his license, and I think he wants to take the car, but I don't think there's a car to take. So I think he's SOL.
It sounds like he's SOL to me. You hear that, Austin Middleton? You're SOL, bro. Sorry, bro.
I see. He was trying to show me. Is there a way to share the screen?
I can present. I don't know if you can. No, you can't. I can ban you from the studio though. That's fun.
I'm gonna send you why Austin is calling me. You're gonna ban me?
I can. I'm just saying I can. I'm not going to, but I have that power. All right, so this banter for everybody just tuning in, obviously, thanks for joining. We are pretty excited for this one. This is a pretty sweet little episode we got lined up for you guys. A whole bunch of guests joining. We got Lucas Siebert.
Not a little episode.
No, it's actually a pretty big episode. Lucas Siebert, Tanner Cahill, Cody Gamble, Gavin Teasdale, Dalton Rasta, Tommy Costa. Dalton Rasta and Costa.
Yeah.
Nice.
And they're back to back.
I didn't even realize that until I went through it, but that's awesome. So a good lineup.
From now on, all of our guests have to back like rhyme.
Totally agree. Gavin and I got nothing on that.
Teasdale and
yeah, I got nothing on that. Ryan Middleton. Oh, look at that. Ryan Middleton got a plaque from Upper St. Clair for his dedication to youth sports. My goodness. What a guy. Wow. We should induct him in the 247 Hall of Fame next, in my opinion.
No.
But we got this episode lined up for you guys, so we're going to have all of them calling in. Kind of, as you can see, we're still working on getting the podcast studio officially back together. So this is more like your Zoom call looking podcast. It's technically StreamYard, not Zoom, but same idea. So we're going to have them call in for just like 10 minutes apiece to talk about their upcoming matchups. Obviously, a lot of them competing at Sprawl in the Burgh 2, Tanner competing at Brawl in the Burgh 18, and Tommy Costa so if you guys don't know Tommy, he is the owner and head coach at High Ground Jiu-Jitsu in Greensburg. They have a satellite location in Monroeville. I'm not going to spoil what he's on the show for, but he's got a special little thing going on, as well as several competitors competing for us on Sprawl and Brawl. He's got Dan Walters at Brawl in the Burgh 18, several grapplers on Sprawl in the Burgh 2, and something really big going on the week of Sprawl in the Burgh 2. So we're going to talk to him about that and some more stuff. So a fun episode coming up, but I wanted to start it. Obviously, we've been on a tear with all these Sprawl in the Burgh 2 announcements lately.
You've been having a lot of fun here, bro.
I know. We've just been announcing fight. It feels good to announce matchups that people are excited about, and we've definitely been hanging on to one that I thought people would be super fired up about. So we've said previously that there is an active UFC fighter, not a former UFC fighter, not a, he fought for the UFC 10 years ago kind of guy. Not that. We got somebody in the UFC currently on the Sprawl in the Burgh 2 fight
Conor McGregor is grappling for
you said it. Can you believe it? He entered the USADA pool and failed all of his tests, and we said, all right, come grapple for us. But seriously, it is not only this one's cool because it's not only an active UFC fighter, which is cool on its own. You know, anytime you can have an active UFC fighter compete in any combat sport for your organization, you're going to take that opportunity. But just so happens to also be a guy with intense local ties. I don't want to give. You're just going to know who I mean if I explain him too much. So let me see.
What does that mean when you say intense local ties?
Like he's not just kind of local. He is viciously Pittsburgh.
Dude, your adjectives are interesting.
Thanks.
Viciously Pittsburgh.
Thanks. Let me. I just want to see. I've never shared a screen with StreamYard, so let's see what we got here.
Sorry for eating, folks.
You definitely should.
Hunter brought these nuts in here, and I just need to eat them.
Let me see. Brian Marska thinks he has a guess for it. I cannot confirm nor deny that guess. I'm trying to pull it up. We're battling technology here with the screen share. 1 second, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy, did I figure it out? We're about to find out. The UFC fighter competing is dun 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 dun. No, I didn't figure it out. I suck.
Well, plus you didn't figure it out.
Oh, this is awful. What an absolute fail on my part. It says Google Chrome cannot access screen sharing because of some weird permissions. This is the lamest thing I've ever heard. What is happening? Wow. Okay. Well, guys, I mean, there's no UFC fighter.
We were just kidding.
Yeah, it was actually just a joke.
His contract just got deleted because it didn't work.
They said, you're competing for an organization that can't share a screen? We don't think so. We don't think so. That's like, definitely not happening.
Who is this clown? The clown pulls through.
Let's go. Yeah, dude. Josh Fremd, you obviously called it. It was also when we posted that kind of looking for a fighter poster.
Yeah, I noticed that.
It was kind of obvious. If you knew what you were looking for, it was kind of obvious that it was Josh Fremd. So we're obviously very excited to have the big Yins. That's what I was getting at with intense local ties. His nickname is literally the Big Yins, so that's pretty much as perfect as it gets. Taking on Josh Ramirez, so he trains down in Louisiana. Very good MMA fighter as well, brown belt in jiu-jitsu. Cross trains at Stout, so that's actually how he found out so fast. Was he has a lot of Stout ties and follows us on Instagram and things like that. And saw when we posted that wanted matchup, Josh Ramirez jumped all over it. And we're going to talk about it with our first guest coming up, Lucas Siebert, because Lucas is very close with Josh Ramirez. And Lucas said right away, like, dude, Josh is a dog. He's like, I don't even know if you know how good that matchup is that you just made.
Here's the thing, like in both of their contracts, this is only one Josh walks out of this battle. So they have to change their first name, whoever does not win.
And they actually have to change it to just Yins, regardless. So it's either Yins Ramirez
or Yins Fremd.
I kind of want Yins Ramirez. Like, not that I'm rooting for Josh. I just want a guy walking around the world whose name is Yins Ramirez. So obviously, we're crazy excited to have Josh Fremd on the card. Ryan, a fun fact for you guys, Ryan can actually share the story, but there was a point in time where you wanted Josh to fight for 247, right? And actually had a conversation with him about that.
Actually, there were two separate instances where he almost fought for us. One was before we ever even had a show, I met with him in person down in the Target in, where is that? The Target in
like Bakery Square.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there's like a Starbucks or something in there.
Mm-hmm.
And we met there, and then he ended up moving to Denver after that, and going to Factory X. And then there was another point in time where we were going to bring him in for a fight. We actually had the fight signed. And how far? Wait, we were flying him in from Denver. We had a fight signed, and then something happened, and it got scrapped. We didn't even get to the point of announcing it. Or I think maybe I don't know, something happened where it didn't end up working out. That kind of stuff happens all the time, more than we like. When you work on a fight for a long time that is agreed to on both sides, and then it ends up not panning out.
Yeah, actually, the fact that you can't remember exactly what went wrong kind of exemplifies how often it happens, because you would think with Josh Fremd, if something went wrong, you would totally remember what that was. But yeah, it does happen a lot.
I could pull it up to figure out who the fighter was, but it would have been an awesome fight. But I did have the opportunity to work with Josh for a Pinnacle fight, and that's where we got to kind of know each other a little bit, and been friends with Josh ever since. So to have him in the 247 cage is a huge honor. His ties to Pittsburgh and Pittsburgh gyms, including All American and Matt Factory and Isaac and the gang there. It's just, it's awesome. And he was kind of earmarked as the next guy, and it came true.
Yeah. I mean, like you said, it was kind of obvious from early on that Fremd was a special talent. It's an honor to have somebody like that in our cage competing in grappling. This one kind of fell out of the sky, to be honest. Josh hit me up and said, hey, are you guys looking to add a purple belt to the card? And I thought it was going to be a teammate or somebody he knew or something like that. Like, I didn't even know he was talking about himself. And I was like, yeah, here's like a few options or something. I forget what it was. And I was like, who's this for, by the way? And he's like, me. And I'm like, oh, sorry. I didn't realize you were asking for yourself. Didn't even realize that was in the realm of possibility with the UFC contract and everything. So that's awesome that we got it worked out and got this match made. And it's a sweet opportunity to see an active UFC fighter competing back in his home tan. I was like reading and talking at the same time, and that's not smart because my boy Ed Carbajal with the 247 fights comment, he always does like the best Portuguese accent. 247 fights. It's better when he does it. Anyway, Carbajal, thanks for showing up, dude. So yeah, Jared Billy.
Is this podcast not on Stream 247 Live?
Yeah, it better be.
I don't see it.
You should look harder.
Oh, there it is.
There you go.
Yeah.
Imagine that.
I'm opening that in case.
Nice.
In case anyone chats on there.
As Jared Billy pointed out, Rasta and Fremd on the same card. That is pretty sick. A top 5 Bellator middleweight, an active UFC middleweight, both at Sprawl in the Burgh 2. And maybe, just maybe, Jared Billy, just maybe, we're going to add another guy in that realm. Maybe.
Just maybe.
Lucas was here for a second, and then he popped out. Oh, okay. He was just testing it. He said, I was just testing it. Yeah. Okay. So that worked. I saw Lucas pop up backstage. So this is pretty cool. I like this little StreamYard setup. You just invite people in and they hang out backstage, and then you add them to the stream when it's showtime. So Lucas still has like 3 minutes here, but we'll get him in here in a second. Carbajal, thank you, Ed. Nicky Rod versus 3 Top Locals is an awesome booking. I definitely love everything about that. Like, beyond excited for that. Obviously an honor to have.
It's so sick. Let's just be honest.
It is
sick.
Because here's the thing.
Even if there's haters out there, and we know they exist, this is awesome. Nicky Rod in Pittsburgh competing against local. I mean, this is truly like a dream that is actually happening live, and it's an awesome opportunity. This isn't something that guys are going to get every day. Like, you get the opportunity to compete against one of the best in the world, and
yeah,
what competitor doesn't want? What guy hasn't said, man, I think I could take Michael Jordan to the hole. Like, I
just try it. Yeah,
these guys get to do that. They get to test their they work hard and like, okay, where do I rank? Where do I stand? You'll get the opportunity to see.
Yeah, and I love that format just for that. Like Nicky Rod versus any one of them straight up in a super fight, maybe not that interesting. Just Nicky Rod is on a different level. That's not to hurt anybody's feelings or say anything. Everybody knows this. He's on a completely different planet. But when you stack them back to back to back, by the time Nicky Rod gets to that last guy, man, and honestly, we don't know the order yet. Nicky Rod gets to pick the order. I guess he's doing some research to determine what order he wants to face them in. But no matter which one of the three, whether it's Jake, Cody, or Zach,
I thought I saw people saying
brutal.
So I thought I saw people saying like that Cody was first, and like I thought there was an order already.
So I saw Cody post that too, that he was first, and I don't know where he got that or who told him that. If I don't think I said that because I shouldn't have. If I did, I don't know. I'm not sure where people got the order.
We are not picking that. Part of the setup was that he picks the order, so he will determine that.
Yeah. So no matter what, he's gonna have a rough time in those last few minutes, like guaranteed, 100% that's gonna get hard. I know he's on a completely different planet and everything, but there's no human on earth that gets, better after 16 minutes of very hard grappling. Maybe Gordon Ryan, but that's only when he can face the same guy for those 16 minutes. He can wear him down. But yeah, that's just not happening. We have our first guest, ladies and gentlemen, at 3:45 p.m. on the dot, Mr. Lucas the Sniper Siebert. What's up, dude?
What's up, guys? How you guys doing?
Good, man. Having a blast here.
How are you doing is the more important question.
I'm great, man. I just pulled into Stout parking lot. About to do open mat at 4:30.
Nice.
That's beautiful. That's what we like to hear. You're getting all trained up. You have quite a lot going on right now, man. And I know only some of it is announced, so we won't talk about all of it, but we'll talk about what's announced. And what is announced, Sprawl in the Burgh 2, you versus Gavin, man. We announced this a while ago, and I think I can speak for the entire organization that this has been one that we've been like, holy crap, when do we get to watch Lucas versus Gavin? Like, this is just, we're so looking forward to this matchup, man. How's preparation going, and how are you feeling about the opportunity?
Great, man. I think one cool thing is I got to compete at Stout Fights Jiu-Jitsu last Sunday. Which helped. It was the complete opposite person of Gavin. I had a purple belt leg locker, which, I'm sure Gavin would tell you that's not his game. Pulled guard, the complete opposite kind of style, but that's kind of what I wanted. I want to kind of challenge myself in a couple different aspects of fighting before I jump into pro.
Mm-hmm. I think that's a good little segue. You've consistently tested yourself throughout your amateur MMA career and your grappling career now and wherever else this may take you. But I think Gavin does present a super unique challenge. I'm sure you guys recognize that. I know Wilkins recognizes that. When you look at his game, what do you see that makes him special?
Gavin's a super high level competitor. He's been competing at the highest level since he was a kid. He knows how to win. He's a grinder. He's a little bit shorter and stockier, which is going to help him in the grappling aspect. If this was a striking fight, I think I would have the advantage, but he's low to the ground, stuff like that. And he's competed on the grappling scene more than me. As far as the USA team and whatnot, I don't really know the ins and outs of how that works. But he's obviously good, right? That's why I asked for him specifically.
Do you look forward, obviously the grappling match rather is what was presented, but do you think about how you would match up in a fight with him? I mean, I'm just saying, I got to set the stage for that.
I think I would match up very, very well in a fight with Gavin Teasdale. Yes. I think down the line, that's a great idea. At this point in our careers, I don't know necessarily where it fits in. But we'll see. I think if, I go out, sub him, he's going to want to fight me. Or, he goes out and subs me, I'm gonna want to fight him, right?
Yeah.
If we have a competitive, we're gonna end up probably wanting to fight each other. As far as when, I have no idea.
Regional. When you wait on regional fights, they don't happen. So I'm just letting you know that.
Yeah, that's fair. That's a fair point. But I think if we're both gonna be around Pittsburgh. We're both high level guys. I think the fight down the line for a belt in a year makes a little bit more sense than an 0-1 and an 0-0.
Mhm.
But that's just me spitballing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, man. And obviously, Gavin's team with the shop and everything. I mean, this little rivalry between Stout and the shop, I like it, dude. I like it. I'm having fun with it.
I like it.
It's great. I mean, it's great for you guys, right? It's honestly great for everybody, as much as it is dumb, right? It's regional fighting. Like, we have no reason to each other, talk shit about each other as much as Tanner talks shit about me or whatever, right? We have no reason to do it, but I don't know what it is. I think we're like the complete opposite, in terms of every aspect of it, like all of us, and we're never gonna fucking get along.
But do you think, I don't know that there's a hatred two ways. I think it's like a playful, like,
on my end, it's always been playful. I think they don't really like me. And I think it's in all honesty, it took a couple people for me to tell me this, for me to understand it, is like, they're just fucking jealous of me. Like, to be completely honest with you, I've done everything they wanted to do, and it pisses them off. You know what I mean? I'm fighting constantly. I'm fighting every other month. Tanner claims he can't get a fight, but, doesn't try to fight for, anywhere outside of Pittsburgh. Obviously, you guys want him to fight for you, but, like, if you want to fight, go find a fight. He claims a lot of stuff, but in reality, like, I'm the one actually doing the shit, right? You can claim you want to be a fighter and not fucking fight anybody, but I'm fighting every other month. I'm 5-0. I'm number one at his weight class. I'm number one at my weight class. I'm, in my opinion, number one pound for pound, because I don't see anybody else in the amateurs number one in 2 weight classes. So I think a lot of them, and then the publicity or hype I get, I think that pisses them off too, because they have no personalities. They don't know how to talk. They don't know how to speak. And I get a little bit of hype. I know how to market myself. And they're like, what, this fucking kid that sucked at wrestling? Well, yeah, I wasn't a blue chip recruit, but I worked my ass off. And now I'm where you guys should be if you wouldn't have fucked off. So I think that's a lot of it. I think they are genuinely jealous of me. I think that's where the whole thing comes from.
So is that a Cahill thing, or is that a whole shop thing? Is that a Gavin thing?
I think it's a whole shop thing. Taylor, they all move mad weird. Like, meaning they'll talk shit about you, right? And it's like, it's a playful thing. And maybe it's just how I was raised. Like, if I tell you something, or if I say something, like, I'm gonna stay to it, right? Hunter was right next to me one time. Kale walked up to me, shook my hand, said, "What's up, stud?" And then, like, talk shit about me the next day. And I'm like, bro, what? And, like, or he'll say something on a podcast and get it taken down. Or, hey, I crossed the line here. The way I am, I wear my heart on my sleeve. If I don't like you, you're gonna know. And if I love you, you're gonna know. And I wish ill will against really nobody. Like, I don't really talk shit. I have not initiated any of the shit talk, right? KO called me out back in December, and I kind of clapped back a little bit, right?
So wait. Was that the first you versus Tanner kind of thing?
Yeah.
Was December?
And then
what do you think sparked that? Where'd that come from? Was there any previous history? My
publicity or whatever, me winning. And he was like, oh, this, like,
I want to fight that guy.
Yeah, I could fight that guy. And I went out of my way to fight in Ohio so that I could get advanced rules to fight in April. I asked you guys to bring me a contract to have me sign after the Cage Thunder fight so that I could, build hype behind the fight, right? I'm trying to market myself, trying to help market you guys, help build a fight. You guys come backstage after I win and Malcolm tries to fight my family. And
wait, I missed that. Was that?
You don't remember him jumping out of the cage?
When he ran up out of the cage.
Yeah.
But yeah, so you guys come back and you guys are like, Cahill pulled out, or Cahill's not going to be able to do it. He's injured, right? I guess he didn't technically pull out because he didn't sign a contract. That's fine. But it was on my end, it was happening. And I was like, damn. All right. I get on a podcast with Payson the next day when, in all honesty, I could have talked so much shit. I could have been like, oh, this dude's been calling me out for months. I was ready to fight him, told them that I was just like, you know what? Cahill had an unfortunate thing happen. He's not going to be able to do it. Like, it's part of the sport, whatever I said.
Yeah, I did hear that. And I was like, wow, he really took the high road there.
I'm a grown man and I stand on like I'm good. Like I know how to fucking talk and I'm not an asshole. Right. I'm not going to. And now Cahill's about to hop on this podcast after and say whatever he wants. Or he can publicly apologize because he seems to think that what he said offended me and broke my heart, which is literally something I brought up on a podcast with Hunter. And whenever I talked on with Hunter, it's like, I never claimed to be God's gift to wrestling. I was not the best wrestler in the world.
Are you God's gift to 135 and 145
in
pound amateur Pennsylvania wrestler?
I'm God's gift to the shop. I think they got a picture of me in there, to be honest.
there it was.
I think it's like a bronze statue they have.
Yeah, I'm mayor of Somerset County. You guys didn't see the votes?
Wait, what?
The mayor of Somerset County.
Yeah, I call the shots there. Honestly, it's funny, or it's all fun, love and games, like on my end. But they move weird, dude. I just think like if you say something or if you dap me up and we're cool and then you talk shit about me the next day, which has happened multiple times, it's weird. Or if your brother is talking shit about me and your other brother's DMing me about some kind of marketing saying, that's fucking weird. Right? You guys, like, I don't know where the correlation is there. They don't communicate with each other. It's weird. I personally, I wear my heart on my sleeve. That's how I am. You're gonna know if I don't like you. Tanner, I don't like you. Gavin, I don't like you. Just to get that out there. Taylor, I don't know. You confuse me.
You confuse me.
But I'm gonna be blatantly honest. Because that's how.
But just to be clear, before December, before the Tanner said there was no history.
I did not know a damn thing about any of them. I knew who Gavin was, obviously, because Gavin's been around the scene in wrestling. But that's all. I didn't know who the Cahills were.
Yeah, well, the good news is, I guess, on your end, not only getting to compete directly against Gavin October 20th, but your teammate now, Luke Martin, getting to face Tanner the very next day at Bippy 18. So there's a lot of Stout versus Shop happening.
That'll be fun. Yeah, a lot of Stout versus Shop stuff happening. Luke Martin's a savage. Luke Martin's a Division II national champion. Killer. Talk about somebody that actually couldn't get a fight. Luke Martin had a lot of trouble getting a fight. So it works out because I know Tanner did have trouble getting a fight. So that it works out for both of them. I think Tanner's going to be irrelevant in 2 weeks because he's going to be 2-2 with his wins combining for his opponents combined for like 1 and I've looked at it as like 1-7. I think his wins combined for 1-7. Right. So
that seems right.
That's solid. That's great. I mean, if we're gonna be honest, we're gonna do math. They probably don't know how to do math, but that's very bad, right? A lot of people talk bad about my opponents. I am ranked number 1 at both weight classes because my quality of opponents has brought them up. So there's that.
Well, there is that. I will defend their inability to do math because I grew up in the same area, same school district, and yeah, we can't do math. That's just how it goes.
Valedictorian, my man.
I gave it a run. I did give it a run.
Hunter's fake modesty. Hunter always brags to me about how his IQ is like off the charts, and
It's nuts.
Yeah.
unbelievable.
Yeah.
That's what people with low IQs have to be jealous of.
That's few degrees. I think that's one thing, but to wrap this up, that also pisses him off is like I can make fun of myself. And like they can't. They're terrible. They're just not funny, actually, I think is the problem. They're just like
But are they trying? They're not trying to be funny.
I don't know. Was that video that Tanner posted the other day, was that a spoof video? Was he like actually hitting that? Was that for real? He was trying to look tough.
Was there a video?
We can ask him about it here in 1 minute. He's about to show up, so we're going to be ready to roll.
Wait, is it 4:00 for him?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Well,
Is he in the waiting room yet?
Not yet. No.
Okay.
I'm gonna fuck off.
Now he is.
He's in the waiting room now?
Yeah, now he is. The perfect segue.
Should we have them at the same time for a short period of time?
I mean, we can.
Right. So here's the deal. We're gonna kick you out the moment. It's
we did it.
Oh, you so did this on purpose. You son, you son of a bitch.
Can I plan anything?
What's up, bud? How you doing?
What's up, man? Thanks for joining, Tanner. Ryan, in all honesty, can I plan anything? Is there any chance that I did this on purpose?
He is not. I mean, the fact that he let you in on purpose, but I don't think he planned this at all.
Uh-huh. Yeah, all right. Well, at least we got a similar taste. We figured the right place to shoot the video.
That's true.
Sit in the driver's seat.
All right.
We do got the snapback gang too, Ryan. You need a backwards snapback.
I'm gonna go train. So
all right.
I'll talk to you guys later.
All right, Lucas.
Talking about me, buddy.
Peace out.
All right.
Good kid.
So did you hear his interview?
I did not. No, I've actually been working. I just got on.
Okay. Well, to catch you up, he doesn't like you. He doesn't like Gavin. He's on the fence about Taylor, and he likes the Stout versus Shop rivalry. What am I missing, Ryan? There was you can't do math, Tanner. Either can I, so don't feel bad about that. Yeah.
He did not.
Yeah, that wasn't my best subject.
he didn't know who you were until you called him out for the December card.
That's bullshit.
And yeah, that's about it.
He's an all right kid. I harass him a little too much. I feel bad now. Actually, I got a little bit too much of an emotional response last time, so I've been trying to back off on keep giving him bullshit. I do like the Stout versus Shop thing. It's starting to get some traction, which is good. It means we're doing something right, because I think those guys got it handled out there in Pittsburgh. They're looking like they're pretty tough. So that's cool to be considered as like the rival.
Yeah.
So yeah, and I don't really have any problems with him, honestly. I think he's an all right kid. He got a good record. I don't think it would be as good of a record if he fought a little bit higher competition, but that's where I thought I might come in. If that doesn't happen, oh well. He'll run into some guys that can fight, and we'll see. We'll see where he's at. He's probably going to go pro soon, so maybe I'll see him on the pro scene.
I like the sounds of that for sure. On your way to the pro scene, obviously. The main reason, genuinely, anybody listening, I did not intentionally put Lucas and Tanner back to back. As Ryan knows, I suck at planning. This just happened to be the one time slot that was left whenever Tanner said he would be on. And I was like, all right, you get to go right after Lucas. This will be fun. But on your way to the pro scene, Tanner, you got a big fight coming up. October 21st at Brawl in the Burgh 18. First off, dude, I'm just really excited to get you back in our cage because I know it's been a very long time coming. You're hard to match. It seems like something always happens or somebody doesn't take the fight or whatever it may be. This has been very prolonged, so I'm excited to have you back. and against a tough D2 national champ, stout fighter, and Luke Martin. This is just a banger matchup, man. How's everything feeling leading up to it?
I feel good. This is probably like my longest camp that I've ever put together because of the world trials before this. So, my biggest thing going into the world trials was getting really, really good shape so that I can grapple at the highest level, because grappling conditioning is honestly a little bit harder, in my opinion, than MMA conditioning. So I'm happy that I had that first, and, I'm feeling really good. I'm feeling sharp. I'm giving little tidbits of, like what I've been working on. But there's a lot of my game that I've been keeping under wraps. I'm excited to get out there and compete against high level guy like Lucas Martin. I think that my experience is going to be is going to lead me to win this one. Just being in there before, understanding the adrenaline rush. I think it's going to be an awesome fight. I think that as long as I can outlast his pace, I don't see any method to victory for him. And I see a plethora of options for myself. So I'm excited for this. I think it's going to be a really good opportunity for me. And, I'm happy that this kid gets a match as well, because I'm sure he's going to probably run into the same issues that I have with the high level background in wrestling. So.
Yeah, that's one thing that I want to give you a lot of credit for, man, is taking this fight, because people who follow the MMA scene in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania in general, they know this, but the average viewer might not know this, but there's two different amateur divisions in Pennsylvania, novice and advanced. Tanner, with his record, actually qualifies for advanced, which means you don't wear shin guards. You get 3-minute rounds. You can also ground and pound to the head, whereas novice rules, you do wear shin guards. You can't ground and pound to the head, 2-minute rounds. And Luke Martin, being a debut, even though he's a D2 national champ, he got denied for advanced rules. So Tanner actually had to go back to novice rules, even though he qualified for advanced. And not a lot of guys do that, so I wanted to publicly and formally thank you for doing that, because obviously that kept the bout together, and I know that's a big risk and a big step for you. So what made you want this fight so much, though, to say, because you said right away, I don't even care. If it's advanced, great, but if it's not, I still want it. What about this matchup did you like so much from the jump?
Yeah, I mean, well, first of all, I'm an ex-wrestler myself. I think that most people would acknowledge me as a wrestler before they would acknowledge me as a fighter, just because of, I've been doing this for like 20 years. I coach it. And so when I seen someone who was a national champ, that like, caught my eye, like that would be a great win to have for me, just to prove the level of my wrestling. I've competed at the level, but I didn't have the success that he had. So I kind of want to steal that, and that's why no matter what, I would be taking that fight, even though the rule set doesn't necessarily favor me. It's not totally hurting me. I would have liked more time in the rounds. That would have been but to not be able to ground and pound from from a takedown scenario might actually not be horrible in this particular rule set, given I'm going against accomplished wrestler. If I were to get taken down in this rule set, I don't plan on getting taken down, but if that were to happen, I feel like I'd be the more competent fighter on the ground, and there's no risk of getting hit in the face. So I don't really see that as a disadvantage for me. I would have loved to do ground and pound and have 3-minute rounds, because I think that that's more realistic for a fight. But this will be no different for me.
Tanner, does the rule set and knowing there are 2-minute rounds, does that enable you to worry a little less about stamina and reserving your energy to be able to only have to go 6 total minutes if it goes the distance as opposed to 9?
Honestly, it really doesn't matter to me what the limits are. Like when we do the grappling, it's 5-minute rounds, 1 5-minute round, and that without having any breaks is probably one of the hardest things to condition for. So I would think that my conditioning would be better if I could do the 3-3-3. It'd be better if I could do 5-5-5 after that. I think that my conditioning is going to be my biggest weapon actually in this fight. I mean, I train with Gavin Teasdale almost daily, and I've never experienced a more conditioned athlete in my life. The kid just never stops. So by being pushed by someone like that, daily, it actually helps me, Taylor and me both with increasing our conditioning, because if you can keep up with that guy, you can keep up with anyone. I'm convinced he might be the most conditioned athlete in the world. He's up there.
Yeah, I'm glad you brought that up because having Gavin in the room obviously is huge on so many levels. But I think it's interesting now looking at the shop and how far you guys have come from being debut amateurs, all of you guys, to now you've got two pros. Taylor and Gavin are both pro. Kraus is advanced. You're advanced. I know Hoot still works there here and there. Hoot's brother, I hear, is a Savage coming up, about to make his debut probably soon. So you guys now have gone from this gym of like very debuting kind of new amateurs to two pros to advanced. Like you've definitely got some experience in that room now. So how much has the dynamic changed just at the shop for you guys training wise?
A lot's changed. You know, we had a little bit of a slight like falling out with Indio. We're all good there. Everyone's on like, you know, good terms, but we don't train there anymore, so we have to compensate for that because the grappling, the MMA knowledge at that place is just unbelievable. So to compensate with that, we basically we grapple in our gym hard. We do a lot of like touch sparring, and then we team up with Castle Boxing and Brock, work on our hands. We're all kind of more so boxers than we are Muay Thai fighters. So I think that it makes more sense to do Western boxing, and you know, they're awesome down there in Johnstown. So I think like that's a really nice co-op that we got going. So that's pretty much what we've been doing, is just, you know, basically we get in there and we fight. We train with ourselves. We don't have to worry about like teaching so much like a class. Like it's more of just a bunch of killers, and guys are constantly coming in. You know, I think there's going to be a few more fighters that you guys are used to seeing at other gyms that are going to be representing the shop real soon, which is exciting news. I'm not going to release any of that yet, but you know, we're on the rise, and there's never been anything out here for fighting, and now there is.
Well, this, if you do want to announce it, this would be a good platform to do that.
They just, I haven't got the
official
you know,
confirmation.
It's happening. It's just one of those things where like we want to show respect to the people and whoever they trained with before, that it's gonna be in due time after they've spoken and stuff like that, you know.
Sure.
But it's exciting that we're gonna have new active fighters at the shop. We're moving to our new location here, hopefully here soon, the next couple months, so we'll be able to actually have better facilities, more people, you know. So
tell us more about that. You're moving. What's going to be the big difference between the two locations?
Well, first of all, we're moving closer to Pittsburgh. It's going to be about 20 minutes closer. So for our guys that are potentially commuting from Pittsburgh, it's going to be a little bit nicer of a ride and bigger location. It's at my parents purchased a farm last year, the end of last year, and there's a massive building on the property that we've been slowly renovating and turning it into the shop, the wrestling club, the MMA gym, and also it's so big that we're actually able to house my dad's construction business, which I work for. So it's kind of like one big unit, and it's a pretty cool thing.
Well, that's huge. I didn't know any of that, so that's awesome, man. Congrats to you guys. I'm sure that's gonna, like you said, that's gonna change a lot for you guys for the better. That's awesome, man. Nice.
Yeah. Thank you. I appreciate it, man. A lot of hard work.
Yeah, dude. One thing I think this is probably why I liked you guys so much from the jump, but like growing up in that central PA area, like where we grew up is a little different. So I love seeing you guys kill it, stick to your roots, keep growing, keep grinding. Like you do embody a lot of those same values and things that I grew up with. So it's very clear in how you guys fight and handle yourselves for sure.
Farm boy bonding. Here.
That's true. That's what that was. Did you hear the cows?
There's a lot of strong people out here, man, and I think that's why we're having so much success. There's so many guys that, you know, we've been trying to convince to get into our gym and into fighting, that you know, with the high wrestling backgrounds of guys around us, and the fact that there's just so many tough people, that like mountain people around here. It seems like everyone that tries it out is just already starting pretty tough. And now that there's actually like a place where you can train, and it's not just like two crazy guys fighting in their backyard. It's actually like a real facility with real like coaches. So now that it's getting build around here, I think you guys are going to see a lot more fighters. I think there's probably going to be 3 or 4 that we are trying to get into the December card, that faces that you might not have seen in the cage. So it's kind of exciting.
Nice, man. That's huge. Is Clayton's brother one of them? I mean, I just got to throw it out there.
Yes, Austin. I mean, Austin.
Nice.
He's a brute. He wrestled at Berlin with the boys. All state twice, just missed place, and real tough wrestler. Wrestled at UPJ. I believe he started 2 years there. He's a brute, man. Absolutely super powerful guy. And he actually was just down with me and Clayton down at Castle Boxing the other day, getting some work on with Brock. So yeah, man, the future's looking bright. Guys like that in the room, he's been a great training partner for me for this camp specifically because he's an inexperienced MMA fighter, but an accomplished wrestler. So, that actually has been great for this camp for me because there's been a lot of guys that fit that mold of a good wrestler who have little experience with their hands and how to do jiu-jitsu and stuff. So it gives you a more realistic feel, what I'm expecting to get from this Lucas Martin kid. And this is not a dig. I'm not trying to say that the kid isn't talented. I think he's talented. I just don't know if he's going to know enough about MMA to actually, prepare for me for this one.
Yeah. It is interesting on that level of experience for sure. I think we'll get to see very quickly exactly what level Luke's at. And obviously we know what level you're at, and we're excited to see definitely the things that you've been looking forward to showing off, man. Like you said, all these the training partners around you getting better, the shop growing, all the things you guys got going on. I'm personally expecting the best Tanner Cahill we've seen yet. So that's what we got to look forward to.
Yeah, and that's exactly what you guys are going to see. And yeah, I appreciate you guys having me on. This is awesome, man. I think you guys are doing great things at 247. Just keep doing what you're doing and keep involving us, man. And the sky's the limit.
Of course. Thanks, brother. Thanks for jumping in. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll be talking very shortly.
Thanks,
All right,
Tanner.
I'll see you later, guys. See you around.
Later, dude. Peace. All right. That was Tanner Cahill, ladies and gentlemen. Lucas Siebert before that. We are just...
We're so used to like hour-and-a-half long interviews that like having someone on for 15 minutes feels like a boom, done.
It flies by. I don't love the kind of anybody who's watched our podcast for any length of time knows this. I'm not like a question and answer kind of guy. I'm a talk to you and have a conversation kind of guy. But when
you talk at me.
That's true. I just talk right at you. But when you get 15 minutes, you kind of got to go to Q&A. Like obviously there's certain things you guys want to know about these fights, which I totally get.
And by the way, when you do want to know something, throw those questions out there. Jared Billy asked a question that said, random, probably a dumb question, did Indio Dojo change their name to the shop? No. So just to kind of real quickly.
We do have Cody Gamble waiting. He might choke you.
I'll finish this real quick. Indio Dojo is here in Pittsburgh area. The shop is out in Somerset County. A lot of those guys came in and were training at Indio to help out their overall game, and there's been some shifts with that. So those were always two separate entities. I'm sorry, Cody.
The incredible Cody Gamble joins the show. What's up, brother? How are you doing today?
Good. How about you?
Good,
Dude,
man.
love the shirt, brother. My man.
Oh, thank you.
That's not WVU.
What's that?
I was taunting Hunter saying that's not WVU.
Oh, no.
I mean, I'm not a Penn State fan, but who can deny the greatness of Penn State wrestling? I mean, you can't say a bad word about that program.
You didn't need wrestling in that
I
sense.
know my dad hates it because he's a Ohio State fan, but so I'm a Ohio State fan in football, but for wrestling, I got to go with Penn State. You got to be a fan of Penn State wrestling,
You can just make the whole transition, brother. You don't have to stick by the Buckeye State. You can transition over. It's good.
Were you a fan of Penn State wrestling before? Because obviously you got to meet and work with Bo Nickel and Nolf and those guys. Did you like that?
Yeah, just so when I moved up to the factory, I completely moved up here in February of this year. But just moving up here and getting to train with Bo Nickel and Anthony Cassar and them guys more often now, you got to respect it, and it's really, it's a different culture. And I mean, I just love it,
That's sick, man. So for people watching right now, this is Cody Gamble. As he just said, he trains out of the Mat Factory. He has a bout coming up Friday, October 20th at Sprawl in the Burgh 2, one of the coolest matchups that we've personally been a part of. So we have Nick Rodriguez, one top 15 ranked pound-for-pound grappler on planet Earth, coming to Pittsburgh, and he's taking on 3 locals. As here, I'll throw my boy Carvajal's comment back up. Earlier, he said Nicky Rod versus 3 top locals is awesome booking. So Cody Gamble is one of those 3 involved in that match. So first off, Cody, just what was your reaction whenever Isaac presented this to you? Because it sounds like you didn't even hesitate to say yes.
No, I didn't hesitate to say yes. I'm like super stoked for the opportunity because like, I mean, obviously everybody knows who Nicky Rod is, right? And like, I think like, especially Zach too, but like, especially I train with Lowry every day. And like, I think that me and Lowry are honestly right up there, you know, with some of the best grapplers in the world. And especially in a cage, like it's different grappling in the cage, like, you know, just like using the wall and knowing how to use the wall. It's different. So
I think when you face Nicky Rod, that's going to be the most combined muscle mass that's ever been inside the 247 cage. Like, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen.
Hey, hopefully that cage will have a weight capacity because there's a lot of weight in there.
We might have to reinforce the cage a little bit for sure.
And this is the old cage too. This is not the new cage. So be careful.
Yeah. Right.
But obviously, man, a matchup like that, 8 minutes against Nicky Rod, I mean, just being real, like that could be a terrible situation for you. Like if you get tired or he just starts getting the best of you and a submission just resets the match, like you're not getting out of there by tapping out. Like
right.
What's so exciting about it for you on that level of like feeling that you want that full 8 minutes with him?
I think I can go with him, especially in the cage. Like I've obviously like I've studied his film before because he's one of the top guys in the world. And I mean, I definitely think I can wrestle with him, you know. I mean, there's some things I've been working on, you know, to get me ready for this bout too. I'm focused on the 80cc trials the week before that too, so next weekend. But I mean, I just feel like I can go with him, man. You know, so we'll see the 20th. So.
Mm-hmm.
Cody, I don't know if you were watching or were able to watch the beginning, but I kind of use the analogy of like everyone's thought like, man, I think one-on-one I could take Jordan or I could get past LeBron and get a layup. Like I could do that. Like, do you think of this as like, hey man, I get to test myself. Like, how cool is this scenario for you?
I feel like I get to, like, especially as some of the first match, you know, like I want the first match, you know.
Well, see, that's another point of, we don't know, like, who told you were first? Because we don't know where that came from.
Isaac said something about me being first, and then Zach being second, and then Jake being last. That's the order I got from Isaac. I was like, sweet, that's what I wanted. I wanted them first. So
you might be. I'm not saying you're not. Yeah,
I'm hoping that I do. I mean, you guys give me the opportunity, because the way I look at it is, when I do get the best of him, no excuses. You can't say, well, I was third match in. So.
Mm-hmm. I love that format just for that reason, because I think I said it earlier, even on this podcast, it doesn't matter. Like, we know how good Nicky Rod is. Once you've spent 16 minutes with any of you two, and it mix any two out of you three, 16 minutes with them, that last guy coming in fresh is 100% going to be a problem. Like, that's going to be, that's different.
100%. That's what, that's a lot. That's a lot of time in the cage, grappling back to back. But I mean, I feel ready, man. I mean, like, I've wrestled guys like way high level, more high level than him. I mean, I've wrestled with Bo, I've wrestled with Anthony, and like they're, what I'm saying, like, and Jake too. Like, I mean, those are like all really high level wrestlers, and like he's a high level wrestler too. But it's not like he's never won 3 national titles at Penn State. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Right.
But he is one of the best in the world, and I'm excited to finally like prove that I can hang and go with somebody that's the best in the world. So.
Absolutely. So you said earlier that you studied his game a little bit. Like what about his grappling game stands out to you? Because obviously, like you said, he might not be a Bo Nickel level wrestler, but what he's done in a pure submission grappling format is pretty impressive.
I think
remarkable.
that it's smart. Craig Jones has been working with him a lot, I think, on leg locks. So I think he's been doing a lot of leg locks and stuff like that. Because I watched him versus that Owen. I don't know his last name. He's like more of a judo player, but he was and that Owen guy was only like 200 pounds, and he was like struggling to take that judo player down. So like I studied that film a lot, and like he pulled guard and stuff like that, and I was seeing like how he was like explosive and like trying to go through like leg locks and stuff like that. So I think that I sharpened my defense up with my leg locks, and have some counters for that. So I'll be ready for that too. So.
That's killer, man. I got to talk about your post either earlier today or yesterday, maybe, talking about strapping the MMA gloves back on. So I got to know what that plan's all about.
I was supposed to fight. Isaac found me a fight, like, it was at the middle of September or whatever. Didn't get the fight. The guy, like, the same day weigh-ins, we weighed in, and then we were supposed to be back at the venue at 5 o'clock. He was at the venue with his coach, staring me down. I was like, all right, this dude's game. So, I'm about to get my hands wrapped, and the commissioner comes over to me. He says, hey, the fight's off. And I'm like, what the hell? Like, was something wrong with, like, his medicals or whatever? He's like, no, his coach can't find him. I was like, that's crazy. So it's like he left his coach high and dry and everything. It's just one of them, like, amateur deals, So
that's crazy.
But I'm hoping to get a fight definitely before the end of the year. I'd like to find a fight in November, like right after I get done, because I have ADCCs this month, and then I'm competing for you guys. I like to fight a fight in November, but definitely by December, I'd like to find a fight. By the end of the year, I want one MMA fight. So.
Well, I definitely know somebody having a card on December 16th, so I'm just saying.
So, I'm sure Isaac put my name in there. So
Yeah, of course, and obviously, depending on how this Nicky Rod matchup goes, if you go out and do something incredible, we might not be able to find you a match.
Yeah, I'm excited, and it's cool. Like, I love how the grappling is in the cage because there's no out of balance. Like, there's no reset. There's no so it's nice.
For the way all you Mat Factory guys grind just daily, man, I do feel like that favors your style of grappling for sure. Just that constant pressure, forward pressure. I mean, I'm super intrigued, man. I know, obviously, Nicky Rod's insanely confident, and he's tested himself against the best in the world. But, man, I'm telling you, like, I got a feeling about this matchup that it's going to go down a little differently, and it's going to be pretty special for Pittsburgh when it does.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. I think it's going to be, especially it's going to, even not just for the Mat Factory, like for Stouts, High Ground, like Lou and Mary's. Like, I'm about to go train there tonight at Lou's. Have an open mat there. Like, just like the Pittsburgh culture in general, like, like, wow, like these guys can hang with the, like top ranked guy in the world. That says something a lot about our jiu-jitsu culture in Pittsburgh. So. No
doubt, man. And that's something that's, really, it's an honor for us to be able to do a Sprawl, getting a guy like Dante Leone and PJ Barch, getting those guys in last time, and now Nicky Rod this time, and having them stick around and do seminars and share their knowledge, and then also compete, man. It's big for the scene for sure, and guys like you and everybody at the Mat Factory help make up that scene and make it great. So we appreciate you guys stepping up to the challenge, because a lot of people do not want to face Nicky Rod in a grappling format.
Yeah, I'm excited, man, because everybody, what do they say? Like, everybody was once a contender. You know what I'm saying? Like, when you get an opportunity to shine, like on this is, right? You guys are coming to like you guys are going to Cincinnati and stuff like that. Like, I could see you guys on UFC Fight Pass and stuff like that someday too. Like, you guys are like, you guys are shining too. Like, you guys are going to get your shot too, like on like bigger, like, stages like UFC Fight Pass, stuff like that, because you guys are doing a great job. It's just like me. I've been grinding for years, and this is my opportunity, like, to show, the jiu-jitsu community in the world that, I can compete with the best. So.
Did that feel like, did the offer to face Nicky Rod, did that kind of hit you like, man, this is why I've been pushing myself so hard for so many years? Because, technically speaking, I think you're a blue belt, right? But obviously that is what it is, and no-gi rankings are kind of janky. But regardless, You got a guy like Isaac, like he wouldn't have even offered it to you if he didn't think you were ready. So did that
Right.
kind of validate things whenever it got brought up?
Yeah, I mean that. I mean, in competitions, I've been submitting like good black belts too. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, so like belts do matter, like, you know, but like when it comes to competition, you know, I mean, it doesn't, you know, it doesn't really matter. You know, I mean, I can't attest to that because I've, you know, submitted some good black belts. So.
Yeah, dude, you've been on a good tear. You obviously performed really well at Sprawl in the Burgh. I saw you just won big at Stout fights as well. Now you've got ADCCs coming up, Sprawl in the
Yeah.
Burgh. Staying super active, man. What's
Then
the end goal for you?
Hopefully an MMA fight. So
Hopefully an MMA fight. I would love to see that. What's the end goal for Cody Gamble as a competitor? Are you looking at the UFC? Where's your goal?
yeah, I mean, I have big goals. I have big goals in MMA and grappling now. You know, I mean, like obviously that'd be like the biggest goal ever is become a world champ in both. But like I just want to be a world champ, man. I mean, like I put in 12, 14 sessions a week. That's where, like this opportunity came like for Nicky Rod. Like this is what I've been working for. This is why I grind every day, put 2 days in, go to work, you know, train twice at night, like sacrifice sleep and everything just for opportunities like this, you know, let myself shine, you know.
Huge, man. Well, we're super excited for you to be a part of it, dude, and we appreciate you jumping on this podcast real fast to talk about it. I don't know if you saw the comment Jared said, I'm really digging this guy's confidence. So you've got the fans stirred up already, too. We're all excited to see you take on Nicky Rod, man. October 20th at Sprawl in the Burgh, too. We'll see you then, brother. Good luck.
I appreciate you guys.
Yeah, man. Just real quick before we go, good luck at ADCCs, obviously, too. That's a huge opportunity in and of itself.
Thank you. Yeah. Thanks for having me on, you guys. I appreciate it.
For sure, brother.
No problem. Thanks for coming, man.
Take care, man.
Who's next on the docket?
Next up, Tommy Costa to the stage. Nice. There he is. Look at him. Look at this guy. What's up, dude? Yeah, dude. Loud and clear.
Are we in the same building?
Yeah. We have the same painter anyway.
Yeah. I was thinking the same thing. We all look like we're in some kind of hostel or something here.
Actually, we are. Hunter and I are in the same building, but Tommy's a little further away.
Yeah. Just a little bit. Just a little bit. So what's up, man? How's everything going?
Good. Thanks for having me. I appreciate you guys having me on. I'm excited about the team and
for sure, dude. Just there are a few exciting things going on right now, huh?
Yeah.
I love it. I love everything about it. So for you guys, I kind of prompted this earlier in the podcast, but you have a lot of competitors coming up here at the end of October for us between Sprawl in the Burgh 2 and BitB 18. But more than that, you'll be hosting the Nicky Rod seminar when Nicky Rod comes to town. So how did that come together? How do you put that together? Because that was kind of new for me, helping out, obviously connect you two. But after that, I don't really do seminars. We're not in the seminar business by any means. So what was that like putting it together, and what kind of, opportunity is this for you in the gym?
Oh yeah. I mean, it's pretty cool. I think we're involved some way in every night of the Sprawl in the Burgh, even the seminar. So it's cool to be a part of it. But it's funny whenever you talk to somebody who has 250,000 followers or something on Instagram, or 500,000 followers. They're just regular people, He called me up, talked about the seminar, kind of just chatted about our gym and what we were like. And he was going to be around. His family's from New Jersey. So it was an easy trip for him to just come up a day early. And I think it's a great opportunity for our guys to get in front of him. But also, anybody in the surrounding area, we've already started getting Instagram and Facebook messages about it from people I don't even know.
Nice.
Because I saw he already posted a video too. So
yeah,
he was really ambitious. He wants to get 100 people in there. So we'll see. It's a Wednesday in Pittsburgh, but I think it's priced right, and everybody's pretty hyped for the weekend. So it's a cool opportunity to meet and greet with the guy.
Mm-hmm.
He was telling me that what he normally does for his seminars, he'll teach for about 45 minutes to an hour. He'll leave another 45 minutes to an hour for Q&A. You can ask him about anything. And he'll, show moves basically. And then he tries to roll with everybody. So he wants to go live. So, I mean, I'm sure it's going to be hard for him to go to 100 people, but
Yeah.
he wants to roll. So
So
that's what he said we had in store for us. So I'm pretty excited.
right now we have the QR code on the screen, but let's just say someone doesn't know how to use a QR code, or how else could people connect with you to get involved, to be able to get
so you could probably just, I mean, obviously cash is king. You could bring cash the day of. If you plan on coming, probably shoot me or the gym a message, just so we can try to keep a head count as to what we got as we're coming up to it. But you could also just go to our Facebook or our Instagram page, 247's Instagram page, Nicky Rod's Instagram page. I'm pretty sure we have the link up on all of them. So, any of us three, there'll be the link there, and just find it. I think he put a reel up. So if you just find his reel on his page, then you'll be good.
Yeah, like you said, 325,000 followers on Instagram, something like that. It's kind of ridiculous conversing with somebody at that level, but just seeing the reach, like I saw as soon as he posted that seminar video, the reel you're talking about, like I saw it kind of blowing up a little bit already. So kind of like everything he touches just gets people excited. And I saw whenever we announced his match at Sprawl in the Burgh 2, I saw a lot of people instantly saying, is he doing a seminar? Is he doing a meet and greet? Like, okay, you got him competing, but how else can I actually meet him? Like, people are excited when you get a grappler at that level just to be around them, just to meet them. Like, not even watch them compete, but just the chance to get a picture with Nicky Rod is like really cool to people. So I thought that was pretty interesting to see. A lot of times Instagram likes, follows don't necessarily mean you're actually popular, but for him, it was pretty obvious that people genuinely got really excited about him.
Yeah, he is like the body lock pass guy. So if you're a wrestler, if you like top position, it's the guy to learn it from. He'll probably give you the best details on that. You go see like his boy Craig Jones. You would probably go to a Craig Jones seminar to learn like leg locks or something, or somebody else you'd expect to learn their best takedown, if they're famous for that. But he is like body lock pass. And I mean, that's a big move in our gym. So a lot of the guys are actually pretty hyped because some of them like cut their teeth on that move. And so I'm excited to see how like our version of it stacks up against his. And then obviously we're going to learn a lot. So I'm excited to see what we're going to add into it. Cause he already said he's teaching body lock. So that's what we talked about. I told him, I was like, can you please body lock? So
that's so sick. I was going to make a joke. You kind of already ruined it, but I was going to say when you said it's good for wrestlers, I was like, oh, it's a shame there's no wrestlers here in Western PA to learn it.
Yeah, you should be there. If you can be there, try to be there. So
yeah, man, we're obviously super stoked about that, but stoked in general, man, to work with you. You and your team are always amazing to have in, and I know Dan's got a big fight at Brawl in the Burgh 18, and I'm ridiculously excited for that one, man. I'll be honest. If you guys have listened to the podcast, I'm not shy about it. I really like Dan Walter's style of fighting. I think he's insanely talented. He's 2-1, but his loss was a fight of the year contender that went to the distance against Hoot Lee, another just stud amateur. And honestly, if you rewatch that fight, it's closer than I thought it was live, honestly. Like when I rewatched it, it's a very close fight.
When we got into the cage, I remember I was like super emotional. It was a crazy fight. And I remember telling Dan, I was like, you won, bro. You won. I'm like, get your hands up. You won. Because I knew it was super close.
Yeah, it really was.
So, but yeah.
But yeah, he's got obviously a tough test ahead of him for October 21st. Like, how's prep going for Dan, and how does it feel for you personally getting a guy ready for an MMA fight versus just grappling?
Yeah, well, our guys like all live the fighter life, dude. They get their road work in, they eat right. We coordinate, like if they want to cross train at another gym or if they want to do strength and conditioning, we coordinate with the schedule so that we know like when hard days are happening, when rest days are happening. The guys go down and train with Nick Brown on Friday. Like today, I know it's Friday. I know they're probably on their way down there right now to train with Nick, and they train, on Friday evening. So, and that's like a big thing too. Is I've known Nick probably for 10 years. I gave him all of his jiu-jitsu belts all the way up through black belt when Isaac and I promoted him to black belt. And so he helps us out a lot with the guys who are really interested in fighting, we like make it mandatory. You got to go down to Nick's gym at least once a week down to All American. So him and Ethan Hayes down there, and Justin Patton trains down there too. And I want to shout out to those guys because they help our guys immensely. Like I chat with them every once in a while, and those guys come back to the gym and they always say like, Ethan helped me out with this. Justin was helping me out with this. They were letting me work with this. They showed me this, and I appreciate that a lot. So I do want to shout those guys out that it doesn't go unappreciated what they're giving back. So.
Yeah, man, that's huge. And if anybody knows Justin, Ethan, Nick Brown, they're not going to be surprised that they're very generous with their time and knowledge. Those are three of the best guys in the area that you could possibly learn from, and three of the best competitors in the area. So that's great, man. I didn't realize you guys did so much cross training there, to be honest.
But yeah, and to answer the second part of your question about training MMA fighters, I actually like jiu-jitsu has been sort of my thing, but I actually got into this originally in 2005 with the MMA perspective. I came up as like a, taekwondo kid. My dad boxed. He was actually a Golden Gloves champ when he was like 19 or 20 years old. Shout out to my dad, Tom.
Nice.
But I came up from like an MMA perspective. I was a huge fan, like from the early UFC days, going to my sensei's his kid was my best friend. So I go to my teacher's basement in like 5th or 6th grade, and we'd watch. He had a black box cable, and we'd watch UFC 1 and 2. And so I just got into it from an MMA perspective back in the day. Fast forward to like college years. Well, I'm going to Temple University in Philly, and that's what we were doing. It was like full on MMA training every day, Muay Thai 2 days a week. Jiu-jitsu and like MMA training the other 2 days. So I never fought like a sanctioned fight. I graduated college in 2009. I did 3 smokers. But by the time I moved back here, and it was like 2012 when I moved back here and started just teaching jiu-jitsu, had a job, I kind of like gave up on the idea of fighting. And by then MMA was finally legal in Pennsylvania. So I never fought a sanctioned fight, but I've always kind of had that like initial roots in MMA, and I feel like my career as a coach has been reinvigorated by revamping our fight team, and I'm like really excited now about just coaching MMA and getting better with the guys. I'm getting better myself at like kickboxing and boxing and wrestling, and that's kind of fun for me, is like seeing if I know I'm getting better just training with the guys, they're definitely getting better. So.
Yeah, no doubt, man. That is super exciting, and it's cool for us too to kind of see your team growing. It seems like every time we check in for an event to see who you got a couple new faces on the list, so that's always cool too.
Yeah, we made the move from Delmont out to Greensburg, and being out in Greensburg's like a little bit of a bigger area, and we've been getting a lot of good guys in, wrestlers, guys that are interested in fighting. So our fight team's kind of grown from like 3 or 4 people. Now we have probably 7 or 8 guys in the pipe that they're not all ready yet, but we're getting them there. So
that's got to be an exciting process, man, for sure, especially you as a coach. Like, how big of a payoff is that whenever you do all this work, you do all this prep, and then just take Dan, for instance, he goes in there, gets a first-round knockout. Like, how satisfying is that for you and the whole team?
Oh, it's super satisfying, man. My boy Dan, he hits hard, dude. Like, I can tell you in the gym, like, we joke, like, I'm donating brain cells today because I know I'm going to be going with Dan for like 5 or 6. He has fast hands, and even like when he's not trying to, he can hit you pretty hard. He can catch you, and I'm really excited. I mean, like that's the thing, is like whenever that happens, he gets the knockout in the first round. I'm just like that. All the brain cells that we donated were for a good cause, you know.
That comment's on point, Junior Luis. Super fun to get hit by Dan.
For those of you who are watching and are like, who's Dan? Dan Walters is a 2-1 amateur fighter. He has 2 first round knockouts as well as a decision loss. And his 2 first round knockouts are, you have a first round knockout, it's pretty exciting. So he's a super exciting fighter. And and a guy who's really impressed us. We've had a lot of behind the scenes discussions about Dan. So
yeah, and he can do it all. Like he came to us originally just a grappler. He wrestled in high school. He was like, I think he was the quarterback of his football team. Wrestled in high school, and came to us grappled probably for a year and a half, and just like was whacking pads in the Muay Thai class. And then, oh man, I can't remember who it was. There's this dude Igor that trained at our gym. He actually fought back in the day. It's like early Pittsburgh Fight Club days, and Igor started getting in his ear about fighting, and the next thing you know, we were hitting you guys up, and that kind of is what kicked off the fight team. Is we were like training to the point where we're like, man, all this energy and all these workouts we're doing has to amount to more than just us having a good training session in the gym. And it boiled over basically into like one of us has to fight, you know?
Yeah.
You, Dan's the best. He's gonna fight. So he's really well rounded. He can do it all. He's been getting knockouts, but if it goes deep water, he's there. He's ready.
Well, we owe Igor thank you then for getting in Dan's ear, man. That's awesome. Yeah. I'm actually super surprised to hear you say that Dan was a grappler initially, because when you watch him fight, his hands, he looks so natural on the feet. I just assumed that's where he started, to be honest.
Yeah, we've been trying to just keep him patient, keep him moving, and the strikes, they all add up. So
I'm not sure who Jared Billy's thinking of. He said Dan knocked out a dude this past April, right? Heavyweight. He did knock out a dude this past April, but he is a welterweight. He fought Monte Barnes actually in that fight, in his most recent fight. So that was that one. But yeah, man, we're crazy excited for Dan. Tommy, obviously super excited to work with you and the team again, and excited for what you guys got going on with the Nicky Rod seminar. I'm sure you guys are going to crush it. Yeah. Have a great turnout there. I'm going to try to pop in as well just to check it out and everything. There's no need for me to learn anything there. Not going to do me any good, but I at least want to see it and check out the whole spread and everything. So that's going to be awesome, man. Thanks for being a part of it, bro.
Guys.
For sure, man. Take care. Yeah.
Thank you.
We got somebody waiting that I don't want to keep waiting. You know, he's the kind of guy that you just don't keep Dalton Rasta waiting, ladies and gentlemen. Oh, no. I can't hear him at all. Can you hear him, Ryan?
I cannot hear him.
Let me try this.
That's better. That's much better. So what's up, dude? Where are you headed?
Hello, guys.
Good, man. Good, man. Having a good time. Where are you headed right now?
Heading back to the Cranberry area right now. I was in Newcastle picking up some pizza from a guy named Raymond Krantz. He cooks pizzas, he does it pre-orders, and does X amount of pizzas every 2 weeks or so. And they're Detroit style pizzas are pretty good. So I had to go there to pick that up. Try to get
so
it.
So wait, are those take and bake pizzas, or is it already cooked?
No, it's already cooked. So let's see if I can open it up. It's
wow.
So
that sounds like
he doesn't have his own restaurant. It's like a pop-up spot.
It looks like Jets.
His own house. It looks like what?
It looks like Jets pizza. Have you ever had Jets pizza?
I've never had it, but I've heard of it. It's Detroit style. There's a couple here in Florida.
It's good.
Yeah, I heard mixed, feelings about it.
You got to order it right.
Yeah, I'll give it a try though.
It is pretty good.
I like this pizza sounds like it was a drug deal, man. You just pop up this guy doesn't actually have a restaurant. You just slide him a 20.
You pop up at his house, you either Venmo him or you pop up with some cash, little handshake and off with the pizza. You know what I mean?
What's the ultimate Dalton Rasta pizza? What toppings are on your perfect pizza?
I love crazy outside the box pizzas, but my absolute favorite would just be sauce, red sauce, mozzarella cheese, pepperoni, and hot honey.
That's awesome. That's a great combo. Can't knock that at all.
No, it's the best, man. But I try everything, man. I do the Hawaiian pizzas. I've had peach with fig on it and bacon and goat cheese, and I've tried pierogi pizzas. I've tried the whole 9 yards. I don't think there's one that I haven't tried.
How's the Florida pizza scene?
It's not very good. There's a couple good places that I found that are Detroit style that are good, but Like the New York style places down there aren't very good, and they had a deep dish place. It's a chain, Rosati's, but they actually closed it down, and that was the only Chicago deep dish that they had down there. So I like trying a little bit of everything. You know, I like Sicilian, I like Chicago deep dish, I like the Detroit style, New York style. I like it all. But down there, I'm definitely more a fan of the Detroit style because they don't really have any good New York style down there or Sicilian.
That's a shame, dude. We can't talk about pizza and me not ask you about pineapple on pizza. Yes or no?
Hell yeah! I just told you I eat Hawaiian pizzas.
I missed you say Hawaiian. I missed that he said Hawaiian. I was too distracted by hot honey, dude, because I want that. I really want a hot honey pepperoni pizza now. See, Timbo Slice does too. I need some of that. Timbo Slice says. So Timbo's also competing.
About the pizza?
Oh, you might be talking about Dalton. I don't know, dude.
I mean, Dalton.
Nah,
he's a good-looking guy.
Yeah. So anybody.
About the pizza.
Anybody tuning in, obviously, this is Dalton Rasta. He's a top 5 ranked middleweight in Bellator, one of the best fighters to ever come out of the Pittsburgh area. He's coming back for Sprawl in Burgh 2 to face Stouts Tanner Hall in what is certain to be one of the absolute matchups of the night, like best matchups of the night. I mean, Dalton, first off, thanks for taking it, dude. We've wanted you to compete for us for a long time, for sure. But to get this opportunity now, man, just thanks for taking it. And what made you want to do it, first of all?
I mean, I appreciate the opportunity as well. So that goes both ways. It's mutual. But I just want to compete. You know, I want to stay active, and I've been wanting to do jiu-jitsu matches or boxing matches in between my Bellator fights for so long, but it's always like a tricky situation with Bellator. Sometimes they're doing 2 fights a month, sometimes they're doing 1, sometimes they won't have a month where they have a fight, and then they'll tell me like they plan on having me fight in April and then again in August, and then, you know, they tell me I'll have 3 fights in a year, and if I'm doing that, you know, I can't really get the grappling in. But it's really what held me back is like broken promises from grappling. So it's like they told me they were going to have me fight, and then they didn't. Last year, they stood by their word. They gave me 3 fights, but I pretty much had to beg and plead for it. And I'm not here to, you know, throw anybody on the under the bus or badmouth anybody, because Bellator has treated me well. But it's very hard to get 3 fights a year in their promotion whenever they're putting on like very few shows. And when they are putting on a lot of shows, sometimes that they have like, you know, 10 to 12 bouts on it. They don't even fully fill up the bout card. And I'm sure it has something to do, you know, with a budget and with what Viacom and Showtime and everybody wants them to do and their running time on their shows. So there's not really much I can say about it. But I've only had 1 fight or 1 year so far in my professional career where I've had 3 fights in a year, which is what I want. I want 3 to 4 a year. And I was lucky to get 3 last year, but this year I've only had 1. And now there's all these talks about Bellator possibly being sold. So I was supposed to get on the November card, but they said they couldn't make it happen. It was full. And I remember you were texting me about it. You're like, it's kind of a long shot, but I just figured I'd see. And I don't know if you're allowed or not, but do you want to grapple on this? And I told you, I was like, it's going to be like a last minute thing because I'm just waiting to hear back on the November card. And like I said, Bellator, they were trying to get me on the card. They were, but sometimes it's a long process. It's not like, you know, they offer a guy a fight and then the next day they tell me the guy didn't take the fight and they're going to tell me like, okay, we're going to ask this guy next. And then that doesn't work out. And it's like, okay, you're not fighting. Sometimes it takes 2 or 3 weeks to try and make these matchups and find somebody that works or find something that fits in on the card for what they're trying to go for. And whenever I got word that I wasn't fighting on the card for sure, I hit you up immediately. I texted you immediately. I was getting on a plane, come back to Pittsburgh, I believe. And I texted you right away and was like, who am I beating up?
That was the text. I can confirm. I could probably find that text actually and share it at some point for the lead up. That was fun, man. And then
I think the exact words were, who am I slamming the fuck out of? But you said no slams.
I did. Unfortunately, have to break your heart on the slam rule because we did have a bit of an incident at the first Sprawl in the Burgh with a slam, which we did say ahead of time that it was allowed. Like everybody knew that was fair game. But after it happened, we were like, yeah, we don't necessarily want that to happen again. So if you hit a super nice double leg and it kind of like turns into a slam, that's fine. We just don't want the power bombs like out of submissions or somebody pull guard and you just power bomb them. That's what we want to avoid.
Yeah, for sure. I understand.
Dalton, question for you. You've had a super uber successful MMA career, starting with your amateur career with Undefeated, and then you went on a run in Bellator for your pro debut through recently, and then you just faced your first defeat of your career. First of all, I just want to say, like, I pray for your next opponent. But secondly, what's that? Has that created a difference in you, like facing defeat for the first time? Has that fire been reignited? Like, how has that suffering your first ever MMA loss?
So I can't say that I notice a difference. There's a lot of people out there that are like, oh, well, this wasn't a loss, it was a lesson. That's not the mentality that I like to take. I think you should be learning in victory and defeat. And I think the people that they wait to say that until they lose are the people that are trying to make themselves feel better about losing. And I'm not the type of guy where I'm saying like losing's okay. It's not okay with me, but it happens sometimes. And sometimes you just got to address the issues at hand and move forward and try not to let it happen again. Now, that being said, I always work hard. I'm a very hard worker. I'm a workhorse. I'm in the gym 2 to 3 times every single day. So there's not much more I can do in terms of changing how I training more, because then I'm just going to overdo it and I'm going to end up with injuries. I'm going to play with injuries, and that's going to be a repeat of my wrestling career for fighting. So I got to train smart at the same time. But in terms of the way I'm training, a lot of my training partners have told me, like, when I'm walking into the gym now, that there's like just a different aura about me. Like I look like I'm pissed off. My demeanor changed. I'm just giving you examples of what's been told to me. I look like I'm going in there to knock somebody out now, where like I've been walking in before with smiles on my face. So it's not something I noticed, but I've had people around me tell me that, so if anything, maybe I'm just a little bit more pissed off, and maybe my training partners are suffering a little bit, but there's still things that I need to address outside of just my mentality towards training. I need to fix my gas tank. I need to fix my energy expenditure. The only reason I lost that last fight, if you guys watched it, you seen how I manhandled in the first round. The only reason I lost that fight is because I got tired, and then I started making dumb decisions, stupid decisions when I got tired that caused me to get even more tired. So there's a difference between fighting tired and fighting through it, and then being completely exhausted and not having any energy left to fight. And towards the end of the second round and the third round, that's where I was at. Whereas like the beginning of the second round, I was just tired, and I could have figured out ways to get through it. But, I made some stupid decisions out of fatigue in my mind. I think that's why I made the stupid decisions. But, it led to some costly mistakes.
Yeah, well, just so you know, like, there's never a thing where we're not watching. Like, we are right there with you. You're a Pittsburgh fighter. Like, we're all on our Slack channel, like commenting and saying, great first round, like, that kind of thing. We're all cheering you on and watching every moment of your career, bro.
I appreciate that. I don't doubt it at all.
I do want to know, very important question, what makes you more mad, losing that fight or having to watch Matt Canada call plays for the Steelers?
Listen, as much as I hate Matt Canada, man, there's nothing I hate more than losing. And the way I lost as well. I didn't lose to somebody that was better than me. I beat myself. And I know that's a cliche saying, and I know this was supposed to be a joke of a response, but man, fucking...
That's the competitor.
I really, really fucking hate losing, and I hate the way I lost because I beat myself. I literally, if I would have went in there that night, and let's say I fought John Jones, and I just got outclassed, he was outstriking me. His reach was too long. He had the intangibles that I couldn't make up for. I couldn't take him down. I couldn't out-grapple him when we did end up on the ground, and I couldn't stop his takedown defense. There was absolutely no way outside of that I could beat him outside of a puncher's chance. I could have sat with that a little bit better. I could have went home, And I could have went to my hotel room that night and just thought to myself, like, man, this really fucking sucks. But he really was the better man. You know, there's nothing I could have done outside of a lucky punch that would have won me that fight. But that's not the case. It's literally, if you would have given me an hour to recover, I could have went back in there and beat him 30-27, 30-26, knocked him out. I see, watching back the fight, I see the shots that I could have placed a little bit more power, a little bit more zip on them, where they landed flush, where it would have put him out, or more setups that I could have put in place, you know, to lead him into these traps of being knocked out. There's so many different things that I could have did adjustment-wise. And the biggest one would be listen to my coaches and not wrestling. All camp long, all we did was strike and anti-wrestle. All fucking camp long. So I didn't do any wrestling, any grappling outside of, like, you know, grappling on Fridays and grappling and our MMA grappling on Wednesday, which is essentially just like combinations, throwing your boxing combinations, kick combinations to your takedowns, and that's it. So I got outside of my game plan. I made dumb decisions, started wrestling whenever that wasn't the game plan. My body wasn't even used to it. And like I said, I'm not going to make any excuses. The dude's a good fighter, but I know for sure if I get that fight back, it's going to be a different result every single time.
Is that still the goal for you in your career right now? I mean, I'm not necessarily saying the rematch, but you said it earlier that Bellator is like in a weird limbo right now. Like, what are you preparing for just in the terms of the scope of your career?
I mean, honestly, if I don't think so. I think, my personal opinion, I've heard some stuff. I've heard rumors both ways, but I think what's going to happen is PFL is probably going to acquire Bellator, and they're probably going to run separately for a little bit, maybe a year or two, and maybe do some cross promoting within there. But Bellator has TV contracts and stuff, so they're probably going to want to run those TV contracts up and want to like get their rosters in place before and fill out these contracts, honor the contracts that are in place before they like move on and either merge or do co-promotions or whatever they plan on doing with it. I don't know if they're going to act as two separate companies or if it's just going to merge all under PFL and try to be like one powerhouse to compete with the UFC. But either way, I think I'm good. If it's, you know, I lost one fight, obviously you don't want to go into a situation like this on a loss. I put myself in a bad position, but I can't imagine one, if not all of the big three promotions, you know, are gonna want me. So I have a great body of work. I'm young. You know, I have all the right people around me, the right managers. I have the support, the fans. So I think no matter what happens, I'll be good. I'll figure a way out. I'll either go straight to the promotion, or if I have to go back to the regional scene, get a couple fights, and then go to one of the big three after that. That's fine too. You know, I'm young. I'm not in a rush to do anything, and I think I'll be fine at the end of the day.
Perfect, man. I love that. Doesn't surprise me at all, man. Like we said earlier, your career trajectory, it's always kind of been pretty obvious that you were going to do whatever you set out to do. So we're excited to see what that next step might be. Obviously, the very next step is Friday, October 20th against Tanner Hall inside the 247 cage. So we're excited to see that, brother. Thanks so much for getting back in touch with me, to seeing who you could, you know, slam the fuck out of, as you said, which I did check the text, by the way. That's exactly what you said. So that's super valid. But I appreciate the time today, man. Enjoy your drive and enjoy that pizza, brother.
I appreciate it, man. Thank you. Have a good night.
For sure, man. Later.
Thanks, Dalton.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. Look at this guy chilling.
What's happening?
Straight up chilling. Gavin Teasdale. What's up, brother?
Doing good. How you guys doing?
Good, man. What's that shirt?
Well.
I did a camp like a year ago. It was at Peters Township.
Oh,
One of
nice.
our high school guys that comes up here, his coach is the coach up there at Peters Township, said he wanted me to come up and do a camp. Hey, Middleton, I haven't got the tickets yet. I don't know if I'm gonna be able to sell these, so I haven't got the tickets yet.
Did
just calling you flat out, son.
well, I mean,
No, I'm just playing. It says that they're in process right now, but it should get here later tonight.
yeah,
Okay.
it was guaranteed by today. I overnighted them, so.
Yeah. Dude,
Well,
there's gonna be
that's-
a lot of people for this card.
It's going to be nuts, man. The matchups are crazy. Obviously, we got some absolute bangers on this card. Chiefly among them, dude, you versus Lucas Siebert. I mean, we said it earlier because Lucas was on the podcast first because he had to get to practice. But Dude, we've been looking forward to this matchup. Like, since you guys signed it, we were like, we just can't wait to see Gavin versus Lucas. So, first off, are you as excited as we are about this? Like, are you ready to roll or what?
Oh, I'm pumped, dude. There's nothing like that atmosphere, especially getting locked in the cage. There's nowhere to run. Kind of, you go for a takedown, they try to back up. Because that's what I've been used to my whole wrestling career. As I shoot, I was always the offensive guy, but there's nowhere to back up to. And inside that small cage, is it the smaller octagon?
It is.
Bigger one.
Yep. It's the small one still because the Meadows is a really tiny venue for us.
Yeah, Middleton, were you impressed with the crowd up there at Cincinnati?
Hey, Gavin, just so you know, go check your mailbox.
I know it says it's freaking delivered, but every time I look, there's nothing. So I think must have gone like, well, I have to call the post office or something. But I think they're
dude. That's the
either way, it
backwoods.
should be here tonight or
That's
tomorrow.
them backwoods post offices. I'll tell you.
Yeah, they don't go to the front door. Sometimes they get dropped off at the post offices.
got delivered by a literal donkey, like just strapped to the donkey's back, kicks it off.
Dude,
Hope to get there.
There was 10 stops in between Pittsburgh and Somerset. I'm like, how many times can you stop in between? It's literally 50 miles down the road.
Yeah, dude, that's hilarious. I love that. But
how you guys gonna one up yourselves next time with Gordon Ryan on the next card or something?
That's pretty much the only way to go up, right?
Yeah, PJ Bars went from him, Nicky Rod. That's the only guy above him.
Yeah, dude.
Dante Leone was ranked number 2 pound for pound in the world just this week.
Yep.
Good shit.
Yeah, dude.
That match over there was like the World Team Games. Like over there with like our heavyweight from the Team USA team, John Hansen. But I think he had a good performance out there.
Yeah, dude, he's nuts. He just won Pan's super heavyweight. He weighs like 175 pounds, and he just said, "Screw it, I'll do super heavyweight," and he won.
Holy shit! He must be a real deal.
He's nuts, man. He's super nuts. But that's not to say that like the rest of the talent on the card too is insane. Obviously, having Nicky Rod at the top, very cool. We love everything about that matchup. But man, I do want to talk to you about this matchup specifically with Siebert because we had Tanner on the show a little earlier, and he was saying that you're probably, well, not probably, that you are the best conditioned athlete that he's ever worked with. So how do you kind of weaponize your cardio? Like, how much of a weapon is your cardio and your pace? And is that something that you actively focus on, or is that just how you're built?
I think it's more like a mindset thing because from like a young age, if I lost the match, I was going to go out there, I was throwing the kitchen sink of them. And I think like the fans, like a lot of people like respect that along the way. But if I'm going out there, I'm not trying to score points and whatever it is, I'm not trying to win, then what's the point of even going out there? And I think that helped me with my conditioning along the way because like when you switch your mindset from scoring points, like, man, I'm getting tired. If you're focused on like the points and your mind's going in that direction, you're not focused on getting tired. So your body can go a lot longer. You ever go into like a workout? You ever take a street fight? They're dead within 20 seconds. But like a guy that's like really well conditioned, that's just relaxed, that stays confident. I was watching something on like Sean O'Malley. And he says like the hardest part is just like keeping your heart rate under control when you go out there with like all the fans and people yelling because you can really stress yourself out before you go out there. So it's just like keeping a level head and going into the same way into like practice as you would like a match.
I think that's one thing, man, throughout not just your MMA and now your submission grappling career, but your entire life as a wrestler is that you've always been a guy who performed better the bigger the stage got. Like if the clutch gene does exist, then I would say you have it. And where do you think that comes from, man? Like what is it about a pressure situation that just makes you turn up the best version of yourself?
You can see, like at the World Tournament, I could see that it's going to be a lot tougher at the World Tournament than what it is at the Naga. So you kind of have to like go to your surroundings, like know what they have. So like if I know a guy has like a good overhand right, well, stay away from his power, but also get to what you're good at. So I feel like respecting what somebody has, but also going out there and approaching your game plans half the battle itself. It's like not getting caught up in their gameplay. Like in the Fargo finals, I remember my dad saying how good this guy was. Like he was a Greco champ, and he said don't go upper body with him. But if you tell a wrestler that they're real stubborn, you're going to go right upper body with them, dude. And I just went upper body and it got launched, but kind of like learning that way.
Yeah, so
the time,
So when it comes to Lucas, like how do you approach a match like this against a guy who was, he said it himself, not the level of wrestler that you were, doesn't have like a really distinguished submission grappling career or anything like that to speak of? Like what kind of challenges does he present you or what kind of game plan are you formulating for this one?
it's lanky. The guys that like were honestly the kryptonite when I wrestled them were like short stock guys that were explosive. Because like I was listening to a few things that he said in his interview. He's saying like obviously with he's gonna have like a little bit of height on me, even though I don't think that would come in a factor in a fight. He's saying about strike, and I think I get to the inside very easy and tear him up. But I can see myself getting to his legs very fast because like with my fakes, my level changed. If you don't respond on that fake, I'm gonna get to your leg, and if you are biting on it, snap to it, if that doesn't work, pop back up and get to a leg attack. He hit you in sweep single, high crotch, low leg single, duck under, depending on what your reaction is. So I'm going to go out there and kind of like, I don't like to go in with like a game plan. You ever hear like these people say they got their number one attack? I kind of wing it when I'm out there. Like I see like how they're reacting, and you got to be able to adjust on the spot. It's like they're biting real hard. If I'm fake with my right arm, they're really biting with that left leg. I got to know that the high crotch is open the far side. So you just got to see like how they respond while you're out there, and not get caught up in their traps. His trap's going to be, I know I'm going to get to like his leg, pressure him against like that cage. Once you get to like the leg, making sure your chin's tucked, your neck's not out of position on the finishes. Because getting into the leg attack's half the battle. I get into anybody's leg attack, so I didn't shoot a lot at Worlds because my head would get out of position. When you hit a high crotch, all your pressure's going forward. But as soon as you get to the leg, you got to be able to stop yourself and pressure back. Because if I pressure forward on like a high crotch, I'm going to get caught in a guillotine. I'm going to get caught like in a few different things. So you got to pressure. As soon as you take somebody to the ground, that's what's different with wrestling. When you take a wrestler to the ground and like wrestling, you're trying to get him to his back, so you're pressuring him forward. But in jiu-jitsu, you want to pressure him back as soon as you get him to the ground. But when you get to the leg, you want to pressure forward. But as soon as you get to that leg or something, you want to keep your chin tucked. You're just staying small with it, finishing my shots clean, making sure my arms don't out of position, just being real smart with it. Yeah.
That makes a ton of sense, man. And I love listening to you break that down because it reminds me of like a quarterback calling a play, like a super high level quarterback. Like, dude, to me, obviously not being a lifelong wrestler, like you know, when you hear like Peyton Manning call a play that just sounds ridiculous, that's how that was to me. But you could tell, dude, that's like your natural comfort zone. And I think that's exactly what we see whenever you're in the cage. Like Sprawl in the Burgh 1 being one of the most perfect examples, I think, because that was, some people knew the storyline going in, but I think a lot of people there maybe didn't know that you fought Freddie Rodriguez in your pro MMA debut, and he beat you by decision.
He knocked somebody that De La Cruz out on what the hell was it, Fury FC. But he looked good last. I think he fought a week and a half ago. But he was asking about me going up there training him, Gray Maynard, and that Elto Gutierrez. They all train at the same gym, I guess, in Michigan. He was wanting me to come up there and roll around. But he's a good dude.
That's a good group of guys, man. Yeah, that would be a great training room for you, obviously. And like you and Freddie are just a really good matchup in general, but I think it was surprising to him and to a lot of us at how well you controlled that bout at Sprawl in the Burgh. So like what was different? Obviously you can strike in a fight. That's a very duh thing to say. But how different was the grappling just whenever it changed from MMA to just grappling him?
He pressured. Remember how he took me down in my fight? I remember that. Every single, I was like, how did this freaking guy be? And for one, I got more takedowns than like the fight, but he outstruck me. He got me with like the points and stuff. I didn't understand like the whole scoring, how that was done. And that's with like the experience. But I kind of beat him in the same position. He beat me. I pressured him against the cage and I hit a duck under, but I noticed he was going back every time I would hit a fake. So I knew that eventually he wasn't going to be able to back up anymore. And I got his ass against the cage and got him in that seatbelt position. I know he was going real heavy with that left leg. As soon as I'm good with that position, when I get a seatbelt, if you're putting like all the weight on one leg, I can usually see which weight you're putting the weight on because they can't step that leg back. So I noticed when I had that underhook that his right leg was to open up, and I just went right from the underhook right down to a low leg and came out the back door and pulled him off the cage real quick. So I've been working on a lot of the cage defense. But half the battle is just the pressure controlling the octagon. Make sure your ass is towards the center, kind of like in wrestling, and to make sure that you're pressuring him out of bounds and your butt's facing the center the whole time.
Yeah. Go ahead, Ryan.
No, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say it's an interesting point. Like Cody Gamble was talking a lot about how much different it is grappling in a cage. Like what was different for you when you did get to the cage, and how valuable was it that you had been training MMA? So you've obviously felt that cage work ahead of time.
Well, honestly, like what I noticed, a lot of these guys that haven't even wrestled before, they're good at. If I get a guy that's never wrestled before up against the cage, when I was down there at Killcliff FC, I was rolling around guys like Johnson, like Burt, and they're so good up against like the cage. If you get them in that seatbelt and you do pressure them out, it's so hard to pull them off like that cage and stuff. Because like people, they'll kind of like sit on the wall. There's like certain it's hard to take them down because like they're like center of balance once they get against that cage. It's a different wrestling, so you got to kind of have to put yourself in that position before you go out there. And I think once you combine the two, like from the outside, obviously you could take anybody down, but like cage wrestling's a lot different. Getting back to what Gamble said, it's a lot different than regular wrestling. In the open match, as soon as it goes out of bounds, it's restarted.
Gavin, you've been through a lot in your career. You kind of had a spotlight on you as a kid, and you really went through a lot of things in your path. And so, one, I wanted to say I'm really proud of what you've done, of what you've. There are a lot of people who were ruthless for someone that was, a young kid, and so one, I want to say, like, I'm super proud of everything you've done, everything you're becoming, and that you continue to work and use the gifts that God has given you to further your life, and you haven't let, like, people can tear you down, and you didn't let that happen. And so, one, I'm super proud of you, and then two, one of the things, like, I've been around a lot of wrestling and MMA and all that stuff. I was super impressed at your first MMA fight that we had. There was something really special that I could tell, like, wow, like this is elite. This is a different level. Is just your level changes and the speed, the quickness in a level change that was just unheard of. Is that something that you've always known there was, like, a different level for, or was that something that you worked really hard on to get that timing down and to get that, like, speed down? Like, there's just a difference with that and every other wrestler.
What you're saying. I kind of, you have to be a student of the sport. Like, I study, like, a lot of these top guys, like Mike Tyson, like Muhammad Ali, and you got to be like, you got to know who, like, the greats were in, like, the sport. And obviously, like, the greats, like, in wrestling, the Brands, the Colats, the Smiths, and you got to, like, pick what made them good in, like, their style. Smith was good from the outside. Colett was good from the inside. You get to his leg. So each guy had, like, something in their style that, like, made him good. And you got to have to put that into, like, your style and work it in practice. So you can know, like, what they have. You can study the sport all you want. I see, like, a lot of these guys, they think, like, they're Gordon Ryan or all of a sudden just studying the stuff on social media. You know what the reels now? Like, back in the day, it used to be, like, remember Colette.com? Like, where you get on there, you look up all the videos. It's like the original thing before Flow Wrestling. But if you study all that stuff and you go into a workout and keep that in the back of your head, and that's, like, all your life consists of, losing sleep on it, how did I get taken down in, like, that workout? And then you figure out how you got beat and what your strengths are. So I knew I was quick from the outside. I knew I could clear distance a lot faster. Even, like, I kind of combined some stuff from, like, football into, like, wrestling. They say, like, you switch up your speeds a lot faster. If you see somebody in this direction, you go the opposite way. You got to see, like, where somebody's weakness is, go the opposite way. Always don't play into their strengths. But thing in wrestling is like a fake. Thing in fighting is like a jab. That's just, like, keeping them off balance. A jab. Always keeping them on their feet. You have to have a good faker. I think a fake's the biggest thing, like, in wrestling, and be able to switch up speeds and be able to go into, like, a 5-6 move burst. And then just relax, get your wind back. Because if you go crazy the whole time, you can get tired of this fast. And it does look like I have good conditioning, but if you can feel somebody else breaking, your conditioning improves. You know, like, after you get, like, that first takedown, pushing their head through the ground, you kind of feel them breaking, gives you more confidence. And just being out there, and it's 10,000 hours in anything, you're considered an expert. And I got a lot of fucking hours. Many hours.
No doubt, man. I mean, it's crazy evident. Like Ryan said, your speed, your transitions and level changes are definitely next level, super elite. Everybody who watches you sees it. What's been so exciting to me is that, as Ryan said, all the stuff you went through, you kind of took a break from competition, but when you came back and started competing again, you didn't lose anything, bro. It's like the same guy out there, which is amazing.
And that's, like, the toughest. I don't like to talk shit on, like, college wrestling, but, like, when you go to college, they're recruiting you because you, like, already know a lot of stuff, like, about the sport. I feel like a lot of these wrestlers, they'll go to, like, a college and you expect to learn all this, like, different stuff, but your background's already established before you even get to college. You kind of, like, want to build onto that. I think kind of, like, along the you want to have, like, the same style kind of, like, coming up and then start to build on it. So strength, technique, and speed. And it's kind of, like, building on that, like, along the way, and then figure, like, the in and outs, like, the sport. You still see Cale Sanderson and all these guys, like, wrestling around in practices. So they don't know the sport. They're still trying to figure it out. There's a lot more. I mean, shit, this MMA stuff now, dude, there's 7 different arts in one. You don't get knocked out, but they compare boxing and, like, all this. all right, try to hit an uppercut and get ready to a knee to the body. Dude, I was down there at freaking Kill Cliff, and I went with the 1FC champ right away and hit a feint. As soon as I hit that feint, dude, he hit a nasty toe kick. Like right to my liver. Fuck, I couldn't show him like how bad it hurt. But you just have to go forward if anything like that happens and get to what you're good at. So you can't get caught up like in their game. But what people are good at, they're good at. And that's what's crazy about this MMA. You don't get knocked out by a knee, it could be an elbow. You don't get knocked. There's so many different things that people haven't figured out. It's a new sport, and I feel like Khabib, GSP, they're starting to develop it, and they're close. They're like 50% good. They're just as good at striking as they are kicking. They're just as good at kicking as they are at jiu-jitsu. So like, but I still think that there's a lot of stuff to learn like about this sport that hasn't been discovered yet. UFC just started in what, 93, 94? It's only been around for how many years now? It's boxing's been around. All these other sports been around for how many years? So like, they kind of know like the techniques that go into that, but this sport's like still developing along the way.
For sure. I like Jared Billy's comment here. With dudes like him as coaches, I see why the shop is a top gym, man. You definitely are a big part of what they got going on there, obviously, and the rise. We were just talking to Tanner about the growth of the shop and how you guys are evolving. While you're talking about it, going down to Kill Cliff, obviously, I wanted to ask you, man, is the plan to get back? Do you want another MMA fight? Is the plan for you to...
Definitely. So like, that's why I was back. When you hit me up about the Sprawl, I'm like, shit, right after I was done with Worlds, I was going to call. Because the only reason that I did the grappling was to kind of help me with my fighting. Because if you control the fight, you get somebody to the ground and you can stop a submission, then you punch, that's half the battle, what it is. That's the only reason I did that. But then I keep getting like offered, like I got offered the UFC invitation, but then I didn't want to do that. But since this was like a hometown thing, like, hell yeah, let's do it. Especially against the number 135, number 45 pounder. He says it enough. He acts like he's not freaking cocky like either, but he's the one messaging me on my stuff, protect your neck. I'm like, what are you supposed to like say to that, dude? Like, you went out your way to like start this shit, then you're gonna act like I'm coming after. No, I would come after you, but like now that you're gonna act like the victim, I'll treat you like the victim. You know, I don't get caught up like in that, dude, because but you keep it in the back of your head and like the practices.
See, to me, I just see it as fun. Like, I see it as fun. The fans like it. Like, it helps draw. So it's all in fun. But sometimes it can get nasty. But I like to keep it fun. But it you know.
Yeah,
I can assure you there's not a mural of Lucas Siebert's picture.
You have the bronze statue, right?
I can assure you that.
I'm glad that you heard that. That's hilarious. But dude, it's exciting to hear you say that you want to get back to MMA as well. So is the long-term goal for you like UFC champ? Is that the end goal for Gavin Teasdale?
Yeah, dude. Half the battle was I had an issue with the management team. That's the whole thing that happened up there at the club that we used to go to. It was just on different pages like with that. But now I'm like in a management team. We got hooked up with like a gym. So I want to get like a few wins underneath like my belt, get my record where it needs to be, and then sign with like a big organization. But it's half the battle is just staying active, dude. It's so hard to like stay active because people accept the fight and then they decline to fight it. It's just this game. They'll call you 2 weeks out, and you got to be right. It's not like for like a regular job where you got a month or two in advance. It's like you got to make sure your weight's on point. You get a call 2 weeks out. Hey, be ready. And shit, that's how Common Worthy got big in UFC. Call it a week out, go out there to fight the UFC, and those are like the opportunities you got to take half the time. So you always got to be ready.
Yeah, man. Well, I do know an organization that has an MMA card on December 16th, and we'll be having very regular events in 2024 and moving forward. So I'm just saying, bro, we'd love to keep working with you.
Oh, for sure, dude.
Dude, I love it, man. Thanks for coming on. I appreciate you sharing everything. Obviously, you know, there were a lot of comments about just loving your mentality, as I did too. It's always cool to hear you break down something. Like you said, 10,000 hours, man. You're a genuine expert at that, and it shows when you talk about it. So I always love hearing that, man. Thanks for jumping on, and we'll see you guys here at the end of October 20th. Gavin versus Lucas Siebert. You heard from Lucas to start this show. You get to hear from Gavin to end the show. That's an absolute banger. Thanks, Gavin. I appreciate it, man.
And now Gavin,
noon.
And now Gavin is headed back to his Lucas Siebert shrine to worship him.
Yes.
Is it like a face-off? Are we facing off with each other? Hop on
you have to get in each other's face. Like you have to be intense. We got to
I'll bring it down to my level. I'm 5'5", 5'4", so down to my level.
There you go. Just have him hunch a little. You'll be good.
Yeah, he'll be in that when I snap him.
Nice. There we go. That's what I like to hear. Yep. Crazy excited for that matchup. Crazy excited to work with all you shop boys, man. Very proud of what you guys are doing. Just keep up the good work, and we'll see you guys very soon.
Could have done way as an Upper St. Clair guy. Like the shirt has to go, bro. Just saying.
Why is that your rival?
Yeah. Well, they just kicked our butts last week or the week before, rather.
What's the coach up there now? Who's the head coach? I think
at Peters or where?
At Peters Township.
Yeah, I don't know. Irrelevant.
That's the guy. Jackson Angelo, his coach, is the one that I forget who his dang coach is.
I don't know. They did a good job of out coaching us.
Yeah, they got a lot of people too.
Yeah.
I mean, having 1,500 in a class helps. You're gonna have one or two good wrestlers.
That's crazy.
Jefferson has 40.
Yeah, that 1,500. That's nutso.
You see different people every day. Jefferson, you know the whole freaking school the first day.
Yeah, dude, that's what I was saying. That's how I grew up too, man. My class was 69, which was pretty sweet.
That's a good number.
It's a great number. It's a nice number.
You need to get Dustin into this.
Dude, I've been trying to get Dustin. I'm going to send this clip to Dustin, actually, once we get off. He needs to at least do a sprawl in the Burgh. Like, if he's not going to fight, got to grapple. He would be so good.
Dustin Conte is Conti?
Conti. Yeah.
Conti. Whoa. He's a high-level wrestler and also Hunter's cousin.
Correct.
Yeah, so Hunter has not done a good enough job of recruiting him to MMA or grappling for that matter.
I know. He's pretty trash.
Though, so I think it's going to be down the road here in the next year or two.
He tore his Achilles last year playing flag football of all things, so that's been the recovery that he's been doing right now. So once he's back, he says he wants to do a sprawl in the Burgh for sure, but I'm gonna hold him to that. I got to see this.
Yeah, all right, I got his ass about it.
Nice. All right, Gavin.
All right. Hey, you guys have a good night.
Go get your tickets, brother.
Yeah, they're in the mailbox.
Yeah, I'll see you a text when I get them.
Later.
Thanks.
For sure. He just peaced out. I got one more thing before we log off here, ladies and gentlemen. I want to share this screen with you because we just talked about so much Sprawl in the Burgh stuff. I just wanted to have you be able to visualize the card thus far. So here's what we've announced. There's more bouts coming, but here's what we've got announced. You can take a look through.
That is ridiculous.
It's super, super nuts. So I think like when we talk about the bouts, it sounds big, but it's not until you see them all at once that you're like, holy crap, this night is insane. Like, we didn't talk about Chase Boyd versus Jared Deckenip at all. Like,
that's ridiculous.
Like Savage Gentleman and Garrison Creed, which is an insane pro wrestling grappling crossover between two guys that actually know how to grapple, but actually are also stars in pro wrestling. Like, that's crazy.
Hustleton and Crowd. Like, this is insane. Guys, get your tickets now, 247fighting.com. If you don't, you're dumb. You're dumb.
I can't say it any better than that. We're logging off. You're all dumb if you don't buy tickets, so go buy tickets. Let's go.
And don't be dumb.
That was awesome. Yeah, it like won't end. Come on.